What on earth are you supposed to eat when chewing hurts? Welcome to the Geriatric Dietitian, your go-to resource for nutrition that supports health, independence, and confidence in aging. I'm your host, Katie Dodd, registered dietitian and geriatric nutrition expert. Let's dive in. Today, we're going to dive into 101 foods that you can eat when chewing hurts. Now, my name is Katie, and I am a geriatric dietitian, but I do want to note that the information that I will be covering in this video, of course, can benefit more people than just older adults. So it doesn't matter who you are, if you are having problems with chewing and you still want to get some food down, get that good nutrition in, then stay tuned. I'm going to be sharing lots of information with you today. Now, I do have this right on the screen because this is a disclaimer that I want to provide to you guys and a reminder that if you are having issues with chewing, if you are having pain in your mouth, if it hurts to chew food, this is not normal, and we need to make sure that you talk to your doctor for many reasons. First off, it's not normal when we talk even about healthy aging. Having pain in your mouth is not a normal part of healthy aging. So we want to make sure, is there an underlying root issue, or is there something we can do to get rid of the pain? Because really the foods that I'm sharing, hopefully for most of you, this will just be a bridge until that mouth pain goes away. Now, you might be here because you had a dental procedure, you had oral surgery, and you know exactly why the pain is there, and it will go away. But I also know that some of you have been struggling for a long time with dental issues. I was a geriatric dietitian doing home care for many years, and I would always ask my clients if they had problems with chewing or swallowing. And I was always so fascinated when people would tell me, no, I have no problems with chewing. But then the deeper we got into our assessment, I realized they had dental care that hadn't been treated. They had cracked teeth, they had missing teeth, they had pain in their mouth. And when I asked them, do you have any problems with chewing? When they told me no, they were honest. No, it's not a problem. I figured out workarounds. I figured out how to work around this. I got to live every day. So if this is you, if you're like, well, yeah, that maybe is me, then I'm just going to encourage you as well to talk to your doctor because every community is different, but there are resources out there to help with dental care. And I'm saying that because dental care is expensive. Let's be honest, it can be so expensive. And oftentimes, when it comes to the priority of things we have to spend our money on, we often put dental care at the bottom of the list. We think, oh, it's just maybe cosmetic. Oh, I can deal with the pain. But I do want to add another caveat here that poor oral health can impact all kinds of other health issues in your body. The mouth is so important for keeping healthy, for prevention of disease, but then also for getting nutrition in our body. And that's what I'm here for, is to talk to you about how we can get good nutrition in your body, even if chewing hurts. But again, talk to your doctor. We're not just going to watch a YouTube video and find these workarounds without getting to the root issue, because that's what's most important, is we got to get to that root issue. So when it comes to foods, I am going to list on the screen 101 soft foods you could eat. My hope is that some of these you'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that before. And others you'll be like, oh yeah, oh, of course I knew that. So the whole point is to give you lots of different food ideas that just spark your interest. And hopefully you can find foods on this list that you enjoy and want to eat, and a variety of foods, so that way you can get a good variety of nutrition. Now, there are two words that I want to share with you before we share this list, and that is tender and moist foods. So when we have problems chewing, ways to make foods softer, easier to consume, is cooking foods till they're very tender, thinking of meat. Slow cooking meat is a great way to make that meat really tender, especially if you could shred it apart. If you can't shred it, chop it really fine. You could use ground meats. So making sure it's cooked well so it's tender, but then also adding moisture to it, adding gravy, adding some broth, adding some extra liquid to it so it is tender and moist. This could also look like for rice. You cook your rice till it's nice and well done, nice and mushy. You could add some extra liquid, some broth, something in there to make it even a little more mushy. That's going to make it easier to eat versus like rice that's, maybe a little bit more hard, or individual pieces of rice. Also think of mashed potatoes. You could add gravy to your mashed potatoes. That's a smooth food to start with, but then you're adding liquid to it to make it easier to consume and get down. You can add, if you're having like maybe oatmeal or cream of wheat, you can add some liquid to that, like some creamer. So those are just two tips, is tender, moist foods, but then also chopping up foods. And as I go over this list of 101 foods, I will give you guys some tips. So I have 4 different slides in front of me with all the foods listed, and I'm just going to talk through them one by one. So, top of the list, we have almond butter. There's all kinds of different nut butters out there, but almond butter, that's a great one. Now, you can put it on different foods or you could just eat it with a spoon. I love almond butter. I even put it in smoothies, but that's going to provide some good nutrition for you, some good heart healthy fats, and it's just tasty. Apples, and you might be saying, what do you mean, Katie, apples? I can't eat an apple. Chewing hurts. Apples can work well when you cook them until they're nice and soft. Remember, tender foods, an apple can be tender if we cook it long enough. And when you cook it down, you know, liquid is released. You could chop it up. You could, have like a little yummy dessert. I mean, you might want to peel the skin off because that's going to be harder for you to eat. But well-cooked soft apples absolutely can be something you could eat if you're experiencing pain with chewing. Now, I feel like this one's kind of an obvious one, but this is kind of like soft-cooked apples, but all mashed up as applesauce. You could buy store-bought or make homemade. Apple juice. So this is nutrition that you are drinking. Of course, it's not going to have fiber, but it's going to be some, some calories that you can get in you, some nutrition that you can just drink without having to chew at all. Avocados, high in heart healthy fats and just naturally soft. You can cut them open, eat them with a spoon, or however you want to add that to your foods. You could add avocado to soups. You can have it, honestly, I have avocado on everything in ways that probably seem strange. I put them in like in smoothies and shakes. I put them in all kinds of places, but they are a delicious heart healthy soft food. Bananas, making sure it's a ripe banana. I mean, we think of the spectrum of past banana bread to green. We're talking more on the ripe side because more of a green banana, it might be a little bit harder. So the more ripe, the softer it is. Bean dips that are smooth can be something that you can eat. Beef stew, and this beef stew, if it's cooked well, one of the great things about soups and stews is that first off, they meet the criteria of being moist, right? Because there's lots of liquid, but then also because you're cooking them for a long time, you're cooking the foods down, everything should be tender and soft. So depending on how you cook it, of course. But if you cook it well, the beef should be nice and tender. And then if you have like carrots or potatoes or anything in there that's nice and soft. And if you really have a hard time, you could always chop things up even smaller so that way you don't have to chew them much. And even potentially blending things, although I guess it depends. I mean, if we think of a soup like, I'm going off the cuff here, but if we think of like a split pea soup, ham, split peas, onions, carrots, you can blend that up and it's still going to be delicious. But next we have on the list is brie. So that's a type of cheese without the skin. That's a very soft cheese. Broccoli cheddar soup. You'll notice there's lots of soups on my list. Broth, chicken, vegetable, beef. Bone broths are very trendy these days and have some good nutrition. Cantaloupe can be a soft food too, assuming it is very ripe. It's kind of like the banana issue, right? If you find a cantaloupe that's really ripe, it's going to be very, very moist, lots of liquid as you cut into it. And cutting it in small pieces. And even I use a melon baller. And instead of doing like a scoop into a circle, you could actually just kind of shave little pieces off. So you're like shaving pieces of cantaloupe. Carrots, if they're canned, if you can cook them really well, but canned carrots are great. And honestly, a lot of canned foods are good because of the process of canning them. They're canned in liquid under pressure and they're really soft. Now, of course, there's going to be sodium, but if we're talking like, oh my gosh, I can't eat it all, in those situations, I do prioritize getting good nutrition in you. And, as you get back to baseline and can start chewing and eating more things, then we can dive into the nitty gritty of, specific diet patterns. Cashew butter, that's another type of nut butter that you could enjoy. Cheese spread. So this would be like a soft cheese spread, not like a brie, but you guys know what cheese spread is. Cheesecake. Now, this one is high in calories and it's delicious and yummy and probably not your everyday meal, but cheesecake is something that you can get in, you get some calories and enjoy and still have it being soft. You might not want to eat the graham cracker crust. It just depends on how you're feeling and how it was cooked. Chicken noodle soup, again, another soup. Cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is very moist and has that extra liquid to it. And there's a whole variety of cottage cheeses from low fat to full fat, and they are nice and good in protein. Cream cheese is another option. Cranberry juice. Cream of mushroom soup. Cream of wheat. Canned spinach. And custards. And custard actually sounds good. You could have like a baked custard or a frozen custard. So depending on your preference, do you feel like warm or cold? Or also, what is your skill set with cooking and what's available in your area to purchase foods? Because that does matter. As I'm saying, custard's good. I don't know the last time I actually made a custard. But again, it's a soft food. So next we have egg salad. So when we cook like a hard or a soft boiled egg, cut it up and then add like maybe mayonnaise, mustard, however you like to cook your egg salad. That is going to be a soft, moist food. And again, if it's chopped up, even better. Fettuccine. So fettuccine is a cheese-based sauce. You could have it with some, really nice soft cooked noodles and have a fettuccine alfredo or just fettuccine. You could have flan, which is another type of custard, frozen yogurt, fruit cocktail that's canned, because remember, canned foods are just going to naturally be pretty soft. Some canned fruits can be high in sugar, but you could also get them canned in fruit. And again, the big picture here is getting foods in you that you can eat. Fudge bars. It's a nice, cool treat too, which could feel pretty nice if you are having pain in your mouth. It might be delicious and enjoyable for, the cold on your mouth. Grape juice, green beans canned, grits, and you can add butter, you can add cheese, you could add other things to the grits as well to kind of switch it up. And also we want to keep it moist. Guacamole, so it's just another version of that avocado. Hard-boiled eggs by themselves. Hot cereal, and of course we have to have a disclaimer, make sure you don't eat the hot cereal hot. Make sure it's cool enough before you eat. Hummus. Now we can't necessarily have our hummus with carrots, but you could still enjoy some hummus, and that's just, ground up chickpeas. Ice cream. Jam and jelly, of course, in moderation. That's something that's going to be nice and soft that you can maybe add to another food you're eating. Jello. Kefir, which kefir has some good probiotics going on and is actually very good for you. It's like a cultured kind of yogurt-ish thing. Lentil soup. Lentils by themselves, cooked well and nice and moist. Macaroni and cheese, again, cooked well and making sure there's plenty of liquid in there so it's nice and soft. Mandarin oranges that are canned, and it's not just canned, that you can also find them in those little plastic jar things. I mean, the process is very similar to canning, but mandarin oranges. Mango if very ripe. Again, the spectrum of the green to the mushy banana. Mangoes, if they are very ripe, they can be easy to chew, but you also might have to cut them up because mangoes can get that like kind of rough material in it. So you might have to cut it up depending on the mango you have. Mashed cauliflower, if you're feeling so bold. Mashed sweet potatoes. Mashed regular potatoes with gravy if it's a little too sticky and a little too hard to get down. Meatloaf with gravy or even ketchup if you're that kind of person to get it even more moist. You could drink milk, and this can be dairy milk or even plant-based milk depending on your needs. You could have a milkshake. You could enjoy some nice mousse. Nutrition supplement drinks. So this could be especially important if you're not really eating anything and you're like, I don't just need something. I need like some good nutrition. So a nutrition supplement drink, it's not a protein drink. Protein drinks are really, meant to be high in protein. Although that's certainly something you could drink, and it's probably on my, yep, it's on my list. But nutrition supplements are almost like a meal replacement. So that way you're getting a lot of really good nutrition. So if your mouth pain is so significant that you're like, I need to eat some good food and I want to get something in me now where I don't have to chew it all, I just want to drink it, nutrition supplements absolutely can work for a season. And again, talk to your doctor. See a dietitian if you can. Oatmeal well cooked. You could add butter, you could add creamer to it. Orange juice. Pancakes. Adding syrup to them makes them even easier to eat. Papaya, if it's nice and soft. Well, papaya is pretty soft, but you could have any type of fruit that's, too hard. Pasta well cooked. Canned peaches or very ripe peaches that you cut up well. Peanut butter. Canned pears or very ripe pears. And again, you can cut them up if needed. And probably with both the pears and peaches, you want to take off the skin. That's going to be the harder part to chew. Unless, honestly, you could blend it up and just enjoy a nice puree. Peas that are well cooked. This can be canned or it can also be fresh or frozen, really, as long as they're well cooked. Soft pita bread. Now, I emphasize the word soft here, and you might have to kind of rip it up and eat it in small pieces, maybe even let saliva kind of soak into it, because pita breads, there's a lot of variation in how they're cooked, but some of them are soft enough that people can eat without pain. Poached eggs, polenta, pomegranate juice, popsicles, and again, something else that's nice and cold if you are having some pain. Potato soup, protein shakes, which I kind of mentioned earlier, pudding. And as I'm listing this, I hope ideas are just kind of going through your head too. But even with pudding, there's so many different varieties, right? You could have like a tapioca, you could have chocolate, vanilla. There's just lots of different options too if you're feeling bored with eating. So next we have rice that is well cooked and moist, salmon. And again, with anything, we just want to make sure it's soft enough. You might need to, add some liquid to make it a little more moist, but it could be canned or fresh salmon. Scrambled eggs. Honestly, eggs cooked anyways, but I'm trying to give you ideas here. Shakes, sherbet, shredded beef that is moist and tender. Slow cookers work great. So to pressure cookers like an Instant Pot. Shredded chicken, tender and moist. Shredded turkey, tender and moist. Sloppy joes, which we add in a lot of liquid to it to make it nice and delicious. And you could have that with bread or without. You can have it like open faced. So you have the sloppy joe sitting on the bread and it kind of soaks it up and makes it all moist. It makes it easier to chew because we've added moisture to it. But if that's too hard, you could just eat the sloppy joe without the bread. Smoothies, which are actually a great way to get nutrition if you're looking like, okay, I need more fruits and vegetables and I just can't chew them. Let's blend them up in a nice, delicious smoothie and get some good nutrition in you. Soft breads, and that's kind of with the caveat of the pita. Just make sure it's a soft bread. Sorbet, souffle, if you're feeling so bold to cook a souffle. Spaghetti that's well cooked. Squash that's well cooked, and this could look like a butternut squash, an acorn squash. I don't know about spaghetti squash. I mean, if it's really well cooked, but I feel like spaghetti squash can be a little hard for some people, but any type of squash that you can mash like a potato. Tapioca, tilapia, so another type of fish. Soft tofu. Tofu does come in varieties, but soft tofu is really easy to eat. Tomatoes. And I'm going to say this caveat on tomatoes. You might have to cut them up, right? You might have to dice them up to where they're really small because there is some skin on them and they can be hard to eat, but tomatoes can be an option because everyone's different and what their ability is to chew and to eat when chewing hurts. Canned tomatoes can be better because they often don't have they don't have the skin on them and they're softer. Tomato soup. Tortilla, as long as it's soft. Usually flour might be a better option. It just depends on how it's cooked. Tuna salad. So it's kind of like the egg salad before. If you add mayo, if you add, pickle relish, whatever you're adding to it, it makes it even more moist and easy to chew. And then we have yogurt, making sure that it is smooth. So that is my list. I can't believe I'm just going to kind of show you real quick. We just went over 101 foods to eat when chewing hurts. So that was a lot. If you want to learn more, you can click on this article here and there's all kinds of information. This article is on my blog, The Geriatric Dietitian. The link is going to be below. But I just want to provide some reassurance here. Chewing shouldn't hurt. But also, we understand there's reasons why you might have mouth pain. And so I want to make sure that you have soft foods that you're able to eat when you are struggling, but make sure that you don't stay stuck there, okay? All of these foods are meant to be a bridge. Let's hopefully get you back to a place where you can continue eating any type of food, unless you have dysphagia, which is a whole other ball of wax. And that's why I keep saying, talk to your doctor, because we want to make sure that you get the best care for you. So I hope that you found this video valuable. If you did, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Click on that subscribe button, turn on the notification so you get notified when I make my next video. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful for those of you who are struggling with chewing. Take care.